And now we go to the second welcome address that will be given by Gerbert Kunst from the Ministry of Education, Culture and Science, and he is Director International Policy, and this will be an online contribution.
Good morning, dear Chair, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pity I cannot join you this morning in Lunteren, but I did my online fist bump to you, and I'm very pleased to represent the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science at this expert conference on the implementation of the whole school approach in the context of education for sustainable development. Last year, I was present at the 2021 UNESCO World Conference on Education for Sustainable Development, where we agreed upon goals to ensure that our children will live in a better world than ours. A world in balance with boundaries of our planet, with real solutions for inequality, injustice, conflict, and disease. We looked at how to further provide our citizens from toddler to pupil to adult with the tools to make a meaningful contribution to this. The need for a greater sense of urgency is obvious. Our citizens, and especially our youth, are rightfully asking for more action to tackle the challenges of our time and to guarantee a better future. These challenges remain enormous. Climate change is radically impacting our perspectives on a sustainable world. And we've seen the vulnerability of our societies and the world system during this COVID pandemic, which destabilized our education systems, revealed shortcomings, hampered youth education rights, and worldwide brought setbacks in progress made on sustainable development. And now we are confronted with another ruthless conflict right at the borders of the European Union, uprooting many children, violating their right to education, seriously impacting the vulnerable fundamental values and freedoms that are the basis for sustainable development. These are, of course, only a few examples of challenges today's world is facing. The Sustainable Development Goals provide us with a framework that helps us address these and other urgent issues. It looks at sustainable development in an integrated, holistic way, working from interdisciplinary, coherent perspectives towards sustainable solutions. At last year's UNESCO conference, we signed the Berlin Declaration. This declaration, in the context of today's conference, emphasizes the importance of the whole school approach for the implementation of the education for sustainable development and the Sustainable Development Goals in our education systems. In the context of this week's conference, the SDGs are, of course, very relevant, particularly SDG 4, Quality Education for All, and more specifically SDG 4.7, which acknowledges the pivotal role of education as key enabler of all the SDGs, and aims at ensuring that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development in the broadest sense of the word. We see the whole school approach as an important tool that can contribute to the further development of the integrated approach of sustainability in our education systems, focused at teaching our youth the knowledge and skills for the future. As our Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science, we are of course well aware of this pivotal role of education in sustainable development. Quality education for all, in which all factors of sustainable development are integrated. That is the basis for the transitions that are needed for a sustainable future. We are the responsible ministry for the achievement of SDG 4, including SDG 4.7. But of course, we cannot do this alone. And our constitution and the way our education system is organized also requires a very specific approach. In the Netherlands, we have a widely branched system, which gives space to everyone's learning and developmental needs, especially through formal, informal, and non-formal learning. Our constitution places the responsibility for the implementation of the general educational goals set by our government with school boards, schools, and teachers themselves. And we see that educational institutions, students, and teachers are really taking important initiatives to integrate sustainability in their schools and education, from primary schools to higher education institutions. They also support each other in the implementation of the SDGs. And together with the Foundation for Cooperation and on Vocational Education, Training and the Labour Market, the Ministry of Education has also taken the initiative to better embed circular economy in the qualifications in vocational education, since this is one of the topics considered when developing qualifications. So, for example, students can choose electives aimed at circular economy, sustainability and energy transition. Moreover, through citizenship education, sustainability is part of the requirements of our vocational training. As said, we cannot do this alone. I'm therefore very pleased with the growing cooperation between the three ministries in the Netherlands that are particularly involved in this theme. The Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality, the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, and my own Ministry of Education, Culture and Science. And I'm particularly pleased with and hopeful for the lineup of this conference. Governmental officials, UN institutions, researchers and experts, civil society, and very importantly, the education sector itself, all joining forces to come up with concrete solutions and recommendations to further harvest the transitional power of education. To conclude, I would really like to thank the organizers for this very timely initiative and wish you all success in the next days. I'm very much looking forward to these results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kunst. Yeah.